Hey everybody, welcome to the SkyLounge, here to review some Seattle Seahawks action as we win! Beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 28-26! Alright. Calm down, because lots of things to dissect in this game, right? Obviously, we start in the first half, in the first quarter, where news came out that, Ziggy Ansah wasn't going to play. Again, inactive. And you had the Seattle Seahawks O-line, you already know the answers, boys and girls, doing their typical bullshit. And really, when you think a guy like Will Dissly gets a really great 30-plus, near 40-yard, I believe if that was the right number there, gain, and then you got a fucking offensive lineman who, for whatever reason, needs to play vigilante. Holding, grabbing, like, dude, this is not a fucking video game. You're not fucking pressing A all the goddamn time. Can you relax, Jermaine? Huh? And really, fortune smiled upon the Seattle Seahawks, because by the end of the first quarter, Chris Carson fumbles the fucking ball, and Barron of the Pittsburgh Steelers is able to walk it into the end zone for a fumble recovered touchdown. Now, thankfully, because Pittsburgh's, I don't know, one of their fucking defenders, a goddamn moron, figured out illegal block, should be okay, and so they get punished for that, fortunately for us. But in the second quarter, Pittsburgh just capitalized on that chance with Connor, 16 seconds into the second quarter, scores, no problem. And the problem with this drive was, you had Michael Kendricks with a passer interference, which I didn't think was a push-off, but that's what Pete probably thought too, hence why he threw the challenge flag, but nothing came through fruition for the Seahawks at that point. So, with Pittsburgh going up, you have the Seattle Seahawks now having to answer back. Otherwise, you could settle for a field goal, but in these touchdown situations, you want to answer back with a touchdown. At least that way, you can still keep the boat floating. And while the Seahawks thought we were only going to settle with the field goal, Myers from 46 yards, good to go, there was a flag. And so, hey, Seattle gets an opportunity on first down to create something beautiful. 8 minutes and 40 seconds in. Dissly from Russell Wilson. And I got to give a shout out to the O-line for that specific play, because it just allowed an opportunity to have Russell Wilson just beautifully throw that to Will Dissly, our tight end who missed out the entirety of last season because of an injury, I believe in week 1 or week 2. And it's great to see Will just perform so spectacularly. And really, it was nice to just get that monkey off our backs, right? The sense of we haven't scored in back-to-back appearances at Heinz Field. The Seattle Seahawks have never scored in Heinz Field in the last 2 appearances, right? And so it was nice to get that monkey off our backs. And crazy part is, game tied 7-7, Big Ben is shaken up. And he doesn't return after this, first half is over. But Pittsburgh is still able to get something out of this, this man. As frustrating as he is. But Boswell with the field goal, no problem. A lot of first downs, a lot of just dagger plays by Big Ben. And that was kind of the last time we saw him. And then you had Rudolph step in the second half. But before that, you had the Seattle Seahawks deal with something of a major injury, in the sense that DJ Fluker, if he's out, and the way he got hurt, I think it was Dissly who kind of kneed him on the back there. If Fluker is out, that could be a potential problem long term. But with an opportunity to get a field goal around 58 yards, Myers misses. And it happens. 58 yards is a long fucking way out. And so you end the first half 7-2, 7-10. And really, the scoreline suggests, the other team is leading, but I really thought Pittsburgh played pretty poorly on the offensive side. I really thought they weren't really all that great, and thankfully, the Seattle Seahawks came out in the third quarter, guns a-blazing, and Will Disley, third quarter, 9 minutes and 49 seconds, just gets his second touchdown of the game. And, man, shout out to Moncrief for giving us that goddamn drive. I believe he fumbled that when it was their possession on the offensive side. And boy, oh boy, I'm glad the Seattle Seahawks were able to capitalize off turnovers like that. And really, it was a back and forth. Because, yeah, you also had the Seattle secondary thinking, we could just give up plays. We could give up fucking yards, no problem. And as much as Shaquille Griffin was a huge factor in last week's game, I just thought he wasn't up to par this week. Just my opinion, boys and girls. There's a lot of desire from that secondary, right? And what I mean by that is there's a lot of times where you figure like they should have gotten that. You got to take care of that. You got to get that. But Boswell's able to get a field goal in the third quarter. But Seattle answering back, Rashad Penny with a beautiful 37-yard rush. And the best part of this touchdown was Russell Wilson getting that block in there. And, people will look into Russell Wilson's offseason, the whole contract, and the guy got a little big. And my whole argument is this. This man bulked up so he could defend his players. Shove! Russell Wilson, baby. This is what he does. And so, with that, the Seattle Seahawks with 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, able to extend their lead. And going into the fourth quarter, this is where things got really iffy. And again, the secondary comes into question. I think the linebackers had a bit of a troubled game today. And, yeah, I mean, come on, man. You let in 26 points. That's something has to be done. Something needs to get better. But, of course, coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? I mean, we did win. But within the realm of winning, there's still a lot of blemishes here. Especially within that fourth quarter where Rudolph and McDonald just started connecting. You had Rudolph's first touchdown, and he did very well under the duress of the Seattle Seahawks. And despite the 2-point failed conversion, they just kept going. Pittsburgh did cause a bit of problems on the defensive side, but Russell Wilson just doing his thing, able to get a touchdown 7 minutes and 15 seconds of the fourth quarter to DK Metcalf. That's right, boys and girls. DK Metcalf, 28 yards. The Beast Man himself, his first NFL touchdown. And 12, is anybody going to hide the fact that we're super excited that this kid finally has his touchdown? I mean, yes, 2 games in, and we shouldn't really expect anything, but my God, it is exciting. It is exciting to have DK on our squad, and he looked great. He looked great all game today and was an absolute magnetic asset in sense of helping Russell Wilson out, getting those numbers. And as great as our offense was, yes, the defensive side did not really prolapse, but did step back a little bit. Again, letting McDonald and Rudolph get another touchdown in there. 5 minutes and 34 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And it's mainly because, well, yeah, I mean, I could say defensively, because the way the ball was thrown within, 2-5 yards, shit was probably easier for the defenders to get that shit. But again, if there's a reason why that shit was way too close, it's because of Chris Carson. I love CC, but fumbles the ball again. And while Bush, the linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is able to get the ball close enough to the end zone, doesn't. And yeah, and is it kind of harsh for me to criticize defense for, not stopping a goal line end zone potential touchdown? Yeah, it's a bit harsh, but simultaneously it's do or die, right? Yeah, the fucking running back makes the mistake, but you got to do your job, right? But Pittsburgh brings it really close. Pittsburgh brought it way too close, but thankfully Russell Wilson, his beautiful running, and that really shitty field in Heinz Field, someone's got to take care of that shit because Russell almost injured his leg. I don't even want to fucking say that. That genuinely terrifies me, the thought and prospect of Russell Wilson getting injured. But thankfully, Russell Wilson, healthy, good to go, closed out the drive, able to win one in Pittsburgh. And boys and girls, I know I was kind of frantic and all over the place, but who wasn't frantic and all over the place was Russell Wilson, because this man was on point today. 29 throws on 35 attempts, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. And yes, he did have a fumble, but an absolutely dominant performance by him today. And on the Pittsburgh side, yes, you did have Rudolph, who threw an interception to Bradley McDougald, but did throw 2 touchdowns, 112 yards. Obviously, you had McDonald there, who was an absolute non-factor in last week's game against the Patriots, but in the dying minutes of the game, able to get a couple of points. And really way too close and closer than it should have been, in my opinion. But the fact of the matter is the Seahawks get a win in Pittsburgh. And that's huge, boys and girls, because we are now 2-0. And next week, we have the New Orleans Saints in Seattle. And now Drew Brees has injured his right hand, and will probably be out for the foreseeable future, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the opportune time, if you're the Seattle Seahawks right now, to nut up and treat this shit like the championship game. Because I think if you go 3-0, beating, Bengals weren't that great, in retrospect. The Steelers, who are a pretty viable team, and then the Saints, who are quote unquote favorites to go back to the Super Bowl at least. But circumstances favor the Seahawks right now. A great opportunity to go 3-0 in really 2 games in circumstances where it really shouldn't have been that close, or it was way too close to our liking, or whatever, however you want to spin that shit. But we're 2-0, boys and girls. 12s. We are 2-0. This man, 0 interceptions. Yes, a fumble, but 0 interceptions. And he is leading us to the glory. And hopefully, boys and girls, we can continue this great form. And man, I love winning games. I love when the Seahawks win games, especially because the football season is so short, right? It's so short, and there's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of, hardships throughout the season, a lot of challenges. But wins like this is great. And what topped all of this off was today's Pete Carroll's birthday. Happy birthday, Coach Pete Carroll, the man himself, the legend. And it was, alongside his 68th birthday, it was Pete Carroll's 100th win for the Seattle Seahawks. So, 12s. It's a great fucking day. It is a fantastic day to celebrate a win against the Steelers. To go out, have fun. Have fun, y'all. Do a couple, shots of Jaeger before you go to work tomorrow. Because the Seahawks win, we're 2-0, and now we're going back home against a New Orleans team who, quite frankly, look terrible. And now they're going to be without Drew Brees. So, britches up, nuts up. Let's get it, Hawks. Go, Hawks. Let's fucking go. Boys and girls, follow me at the Sky Lounge and all the links in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe for more daily content.